All right, we are continuing on in Acts chapter 20. What we find in Acts chapter 20, beginning in verse number 16, Paul said, or the Bible says, "For Paul had decided to sail past Ephesus so that he would not have to spend time in Asia. For he was hurrying to be in Jerusalem, if possible, on the day of Pentecost. From Miletus he sent to Ephesus and called to him the elders of the church." Now, if you get on and look at a map and look at the location here, they weren't just going to get there in a few minutes or a couple of hours. This was going to take some time from them to travel from where they were to where Paul was. And when they had come to him, he said to them, "You yourselves know from the first day that I set foot in Asia, how I was with you the whole time." I love what he says here in verse 19. "Serving the Lord with all humility and with tears." Paul's work was not easy. We talked about this in an earlier video, the plots, the uproars, the people who were trying to sabotage his ministry, his work, trying to take his life. It wasn't easy at all. I believe when you go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, let me just turn over there real quickly. Paul rehearses just some of the many challenges that he had to endure. He said in 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 25, "3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I have spent in the deep. I have been on frequent journeys and dangers from rivers, dangers from robbers, dangers from my countrymen, dangers from the Gentiles, dangers in the cities, dangers in the wilderness, dangers on the sea, dangers among false brethren." And in the margin of my Bible there, you have all these references in the book of Acts. And that's what we have seen so far. So Paul's ministry, it was tough. And as we saw in Acts chapter 19, when he was in Ephesus, it was tough there too. And yet what did Paul do? He continued on. And sometimes when you think about Christianity, there will be many tears, not just because of some type of physical ailment or something like that, but sometimes it just gets tough. There are people who are not pleased with us teaching and preaching Jesus Christ. So we have to endure, we have to stay humble, and we have to continue to do the work of God, knowing that what we're doing is a big deal. That's what Paul understood. He wasn't just going to go through this if there was nothing significant behind it, but he knew Jesus was risen from the grave. We need to know that as well, and that should be our motivation. Jesus is alive, he is reigning in heaven, and so we continue on, we serve. And we will serve, even though there will be tears. We serve with the right heart, with all humility, and with tears, and with trials which will come upon us, as they did upon the Apostle Paul. Let's serve, let's sacrifice, let's suffer for the cause of Christ. Take care, and God bless.